Post-training notice. National First-Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 32. Long exposure. When he woke up the next day, the room was filled with light, and Xiang Chen was still playing Defense Carrot on his iPad. There were a few pieces of papers thrown across the quilt. JIXIAN yawned and said, "You can even find Exorcist materials online now." Xiang Chen turned off the game and said, "The benefits of technology." "Found it?" JIXIAN shrank into the quilt and wriggled against Xiang Chen's body. "Check and see if it's this," Xiang Chen said. "That's it?" JIXIAN looked at it. It was a scanned PDF with a line of incomprehensible text below. "What's it called?" JIXIAN asked in surprise. Xiang Chen said, "I can't read it either, it's something from the Qin dynasty." "It's so old." JIXIAN was surprised. "The power of these two devils is not trivial." Xiang Chen said, "To hide in the capital for so long without making an appearance, they must be up to something important." "Have you woken up now?" JIXIAN nodded. Xiang Chen pulled open the quilt and said, "Get up." Then he opened the door and went downstairs. JIXIAN thought Xiang Chen would go out immediately and go to the Lingjing Hutong to make his report. Unexpectedly, Xiang Chen went straight to the kitchen. Kita had gone to work, and Xiang Chen washed his hands in the kitchen. He found an apron, put it on, and began to make breakfast. JIXIAN sat at the table and watched Xiang Chen cook porridge. Xiang Chen said, "Go and see how Zhou Wanyuan is doing." JIXIAN went up and knocked at the door. Zhou Wanyuan was on a phone call inside. Okay. Her color had already recovered. "Xiang Chen is asking for you to come down for breakfast," JIXIAN said. Zhou Wanyuan nodded to show that she knew. Her expression when talking on the phone was very gentle, as if she was talking to a loved one. Xiang Chen was busy in the kitchen. JIXIAN saw a message that Kita had stuck to the refrigerator door: "Use whatever you want at home after getting up. Don't be polite. Kita is so nice." JIXIAN unscrewed a bottle of Evian water, drank happily and looked for snacks. He's also very rich," Xiang Chen said. "And he likes you a lot." JIXIAN laughed and glanced at Xiang Chen. "But he can't cook." Xiang Chen washed the tomatoes, skillfully cut them into flowers, and said to the vegetables in the sink, "Rich people don't have to cook, they all hire people to do it." JIXIAN thought about it, agreed and said, "The rich also have rich people's problems. Do you have any problems?" Xiang Chen turned his head to look at JIXIAN. "I used to have some," JIXIAN said, "but after getting together with you, I'm not troubled anymore." "What were you troubled by?" Xiang Chen asked. JIXIAN smiled but didn't speak. He felt very happy watching Xiang Chen boil water, uncover the pot and put in the tomatoes and vegetables. If he could live in a small villa like this with Xiang Chen one day and eat a meal with him in the morning that he had made, that would be enough. "Were your troubles that," Xiang Chen said to himself, "you couldn't eat delicious things, and you couldn't be bothered to make them yourself?" JIXIAN laughed with a loud ha-ha. Xiang Chen tasted the soup, and Zhou Wanyuan also came down and sat quietly at the table watching Xiang Chen cook. "Where did you go to find such a budget husband?" Zhou Wanyuan rubbed her hands and asked JIXIAN. JIXIAN glanced at Zhou Wanyuan and asked, "Do you feel better? Does it still hurt?" Zhou Wanyuan nodded and said, "I just called my dad." "What does your dad do?" JIXIAN asked. "He's a teacher," Zhou Wanyuan said. "Great immortal Xiang, can we eat now? Laoniang is about to become flat from hunger." Xiang Chen brought over a bowl and put it in front of JIXIAN. JIXIAN considered Zhou Wanyuan an injured person and gave it to her first. Zhou Wanyuan pushed it back, making an ambiguous expression that said, "I don't dare, I don't dare." There were 3 bowls of steaming vegetable noodles, each with golden yellow poached eggs lying on the surface of them. Everyone quieted down and desperately scarfed everything down. Zhou Wanyuan also drank the soup until not even a drop was left. These cooking skills. Zhou Wanyuan didn't know whether to cry or laugh and said, "It's over, I won't want to eat the gutter oil outside anymore." "You're so rich," JIXIAN said sympathetically. "You can choose a better restaurant, ma. Although it's not as good as our family's Xiang Cheng, it should just be barely passable." Zhou Wanyuan said, "When did I tell you I was, right? These are all high-quality imitations I bought off Doubao. To be rich, I still have to rely on Feng Shui. JIXIAN. You make money from Feng Shui?" Xiang Cheng took away the bowls and asked while washing the dishes. "It's all right, ba," Zhou Wanyuan said. "It's just there's a little professional sexism. Male Feng Shui masters earn more than female ones. I also sometimes do people's astral charts and read their palms." "Then show me, ba," JIXIAN said, "check my love line." "That's just tricking people." Zhou Wanyuan said, "Last night, Kita told me to help you prepare for this year's exam." "SHH. JIXIAN quickly stopped Zhou Wanyuan from saying any more. "Xiang Cheng." Xiang Cheng glanced back at them. JIXIAN immediately took Zhou Wanyuan's shoulder and whispered in her ear, "Don't say anything." Zhou Wanyuan nodded knowingly and said, "My dad has a lot of information. I'll send you a copy of it by email." Thank you, thank you." JIXIAN was beside himself with joy. "What does your family do?" JIXIAN asked. Xiang Cheng turned his head and looked at them suspiciously while washing the dishes. Zhou Wanyuan rolled her eyes at Xiang Cheng and obviously didn't want to say anything. Xiang Cheng turned his head away, and Zhou Wanyuan said, "They're part of the Ministry of Research and Information, the legendary Zone Zero." JIXIAN didn't know what that was, but it sounded cool and domineering, so he nodded in admiration. Xiang Cheng finished washing the dishes and came over. "Cinnabar?" "Don't have any," said Zhou Wanyuan. "What era are we in, who still uses that?" Xiang Cheng dried his hands and called Kita, then went upstairs to find the cinnabar. A moment later, he mixed a plate of cinnabar in a cloisonné plate and spread out a white cloth before closing the living room curtains. It was now completely dark. Xiang Cheng followed the iPad and outlined the magical array on it. JIXIAN and Zhou Wanyuan looked at his drawing, and Zhou Wanyuan was also a little surprised and asked, "You can even draw out an array?" Xiang Cheng didn't answer. After the magical array was painted, Zhou Wanyuan said, "But this one is used by Yao, so how can people use it? It can't be that you're going to recruit a Yao or Mo over here to inject their spirit into it." "Cell phone." Xiang Cheng spread out his hand. Zhou Wanyuan found B's cell phone and gave it to Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng put the deceased cell phone in the center and said to Zhou Wanyuan, "You go away for a bit." Exorcists had different factions, and unless they were in a life or death battle, sometimes they would need to avoid their peers prying into their matters when using unique spells. Knowing that Xiang Cheng was going to use some spells that he couldn't let her know about, Zhou Wanyuan got up and went upstairs. Xiang Cheng hugged JIXIAN's waist and made him stand in front of him. With one hand, he turned on the cell phone and scrolled to the pitch-black video of that night. "Concentrate," Xiang Cheng said. "Use your dragon pupil to see what's in this video." "Okay." JIXIAN felt very nervous internally. Xiang Cheng hugged JIXIAN from behind and recited an incantation. Then, a green light came out from behind him, and the entire dark dining room was filled with an ubiquitous green light. JIXIAN suddenly vaguely remembered this scene, but he had forgotten where he had seen it before. He only faintly remembered that as if on a dark rainy night, Xiang Cheng had protected him while also surrounded by a strong green light, with translucent Yaogui-like spirits flying around them. Then, a Yao spirit went Chua and tunneled into the magical array. In just a short moment, the table was covered with cinnabar magical runes, emitting a purple light, impressively reproducing the seal outside the morgue. The purple light spun and flowed, and the cell phone in the center buzzed and vibrated. JIXIAN immediately leaned over to click on the video, closing his right eye as he watched it with his left eye. Xiang Cheng closed his eyes and controlled the energy flow in the whole magical array. Take a picture, take a picture. Did you see it? Don't take pictures, don't take any more pictures. Let's hurry up and go. I'm so scared. Leave it alone. The cell phone buzzed and droned, floating up, playing the dialogue of the 4 students shortly before their death. JIXIAN couldn't see anything. After the video finished, as soon as the light of the array went away, the cell phone fell with a pot onto the table. Did you see it? Xiang Cheng asked, a little confused. Nothing, JIXIAN replied. Xiang Cheng let go of JIXIAN and sat in a chair with his fingers rubbing against the center of his eyebrows. Are you all right? JIXIAN asked anxiously. Xiang Cheng waved his hand. On the stairs, Zhou Wanyuan's voice asked, It's over. Come down, Ba, Xiang Cheng replied. When Zhou Wanyuan came down, she saw JIXIAN standing behind Xiang Cheng, massaging his temples. She asked, was it a fruitless endeavor? Xiang Cheng didn't answer and frowned deeply. Zhou Wanyuan asked again, do you want to try again? Xiang Cheng took a deep breath and was about to speak when Zhou Wanyuan took out the 3 developed photos from her bag and put them on the table. These are photos that my dad specially commissioned, they were developed in a special way, Zhou Wanyuan said. It's an exposure technology that uses magical artifacts to image things, so it may do better than a video. I'll try again, Xiang Cheng said. After looking at the small white spots in the photos, they really were clearer than the video. At least, there were no white spots in the video. Zhou Wanyuan self-consciously drew away, and JIXIAN said, take a break first, we don't need to get it done right now. Xiang Cheng said, it's fine. Then he got up, hugged JIXIAN and repeated the spell from just now. JIXIAN prepared to concentrate all his attention, and Xiang Cheng said, stare at the white spots above, you may feel something. Whether or not you feel like it's you just seeing things, you need to tell me. Okay. JIXIAN nodded. Xiang Cheng launched his magic. The room was filled with a green glow, and the magnificent purple light shone across the magical array. The photo floated up and turned over in front of JIXIAN. JIXIAN covered his right eye, opened his left eye wide, and stared at the small white spot in the photo. Suddenly, there was a shua sound. Under the influence of the magical array, the dragon pupil added a flash from 3 months ago to the photo. JIXIAN was thunderstruck, not just the white spot of light but the whole photo was clearly revealed to his eyes under the green light. The photo showed a dark Japanese-style tatami room. There were 2 girls and 1 boy, and their expressions were twisted in extreme fear. On the low table in the middle of tatami, there was a tea tray with 3 small red dots at the bottom. The tea tray was flying in the air. In the dark photo, that white point of light was the slight reflection from the edge of the ceramic tea tray. End chapter. Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 33. Yao Bell. JIXIAN leaned against Xiang Cheng, panting heavily. You saw it? Xiang Cheng asked. JIXIAN nodded, still feeling a bit of lingering fear. Xiang Cheng gestured for him to take his time and instead sit down and tell him slowly, before he then poured him a cup of water. After JIXIAN drank the entire cup of water, he calmed down a little. In his mind, the entire event formed a clear picture, and countless broken pieces were strung together, one after the other. Xiang Cheng waited patiently for JIXIAN to speak. After thinking over it, JIXIAN thought, I know who those 2 old men are. Heavens, no wonder, it's Mr. Dai. What? Xiang Cheng asked, not understanding what that meant. Let me tell you about it from the beginning. JIXIAN understood it all in a flash. The devil that could predict the future, the deaths of the 4 students, all of it had an answer. That night, they were drawing blood, JIXIAN said, looking into Xiang Cheng's eyes. To invite the JIXIAN. JIXIAN. Xiang Cheng startled, before he too understood. One was the JIXIAN, JIXIAN said. Who was the other? The JIXIAN. Xiang Cheng replied, I understand. The twin demons are the JIXIAN. What? JIXIAN asked. The JIXIAN. Xiang Cheng. Fuji, Xiang Cheng gestured with his hands. Raising up a chicken. JIXIAN didn't understand what he meant. Xiang Cheng had no idea how to explain it to JIXIAN, so he grabbed a piece of paper and wrote it out for him. It was only then that JIXIAN understood, he also had thought of something else just now. With that, JIXIAN's flashcards could be updated again. Chicken, crossed out, JIXIAN. The JIXIAN could predict the future. It was very powerful and also very horrifying. Xiang Cheng was silent as he sat there, thinking. How is it? Zhou Wanyuan came down the stairs. Do you have an answer? JIXIAN, JIXIAN replied. No, it's a devil, Xiang Cheng said. They were drawing blood to perform Fuji spirit summoning. I actually didn't think of it, Zhou Wanyu said, sucking in a cold breath. The students committing suicide, that was because they were drawing blood to summon the Fuji spirit? We must notify the committee immediately. Wait. Xiang Cheng said coldly. Zhou Wanyuan stopped in her steps, and Xiang Cheng said, if the devil can predict the future, then do you think it wouldn't know of you going back to report to the committee? Zhou Wanyuan. JIXIAN's face was set in a confused expression as he said, so that's to say, what we're saying right here, right now, they, the JIXIAN and the JIXIAN, they know as well. Xiang Cheng nodded and replied, it's very possible. Zhou Wanyuan protested, not necessarily. If they knew, then would they let us keep talking here like this? Go back and report in, Xiang Cheng said. On your own head be it. Zhou Wanyuan didn't dare to take that risk, so she could only sit back down. JIXIAN said, this really goes against the heavens too much. Or, it could also be said, perhaps it has predicted matters of the future that even we don't know about. Not necessarily. After Xiang Cheng said those 2 words, he sank back into silence. JIXIAN opened his notebook, looking down over the questions that he had written down earlier, at a loss for what to do next. After he thought for a bit, he used Kita's account to log into the database. Most of the records in there were on legends of ghosts and gods, which referred vaguely to Fuji and Fulian. JIXIAN's eyes glazed over and his head spun. According to the records, JIXIAN said, pulling them up, the JIXIAN used to be called the goddess Zigu in ancient times. The records differ too much from the truth, Zhou Wanyuan said mildly. What time period are these antiques even from? If the records could be used, then no one would need to bang their heads over this. The ghosts and gods change with new generations, and now, who knows what they've evolved into? JIXIAN said, then, let's assume that these twin devils are the descendants of the goddess Zigu, or perhaps her disciples. Is there any use in asking the goddess Zigu for help? Zhou Wanyuan was torn between laughing and crying. There's nothing of the sort. What goddess Zigu, all of that is made up nonsense. Then for a devil to be able to predict the future, what principle does that follow? JIXIAN asked intently. JIXIAN looked at Zhou Wanyuan, then at Xiang Cheng. Xiang Cheng shook his head and replied, I don't understand it. If you're courageous, then venture a guess, if you're careful, then seek evidence, JIXIAN wiggled a little and continued. There must be some principle, and this power must be within a certain degree, otherwise it would know everything, and no one would need to play along with it. Yes. This time, Xiang Chen nodded and raised an eyebrow at JIXIAN, saying, I was also thinking about this. Zhou Wanyuan replied, Great Immortal Xiang, can you call upon your internal connections and ask about the situation? Xiang Chen coldly replied, I cannot. Zhou Wanyuan, don't be so two-faced. Okay, talking to your family's little friend with such a pleased expression, yet facing me down with such a wooden expression. Is Lao Niang so deserving of your irritation? Xiang Chen, I'm not. JIXIAN was wholly absorbed in looking over his notebook. Zhou Wanyuan rose, flipped through the fridge, and grabbed a box of juice. She poured out 3 cups, and Xiang Chen took one. Suppose these two guys have one power, JIXIAN said, which is to know the future. Then that means this power must have conditions and limitations. Otherwise, that night, you guys wouldn't have made it out safely. Xiang Chen pressed his fingers against the cup, leaning back in his chair. He was deep in thought, and he nodded. Zhou Wanyuan said, I once took care of a clam devil, which gave me a similar feeling. Every devil needs to take in resentment to strengthen its own abilities. Xiang Chen said, nodding. That makes sense. JIXIAN looked at Zhou Wanyuan as he asked, just like a phone? When it's fully charged, you can use it for a whole day. Zhou Wanyuan replied, that also depends on whether or not it uses its abilities. I imagine that perhaps, the further into the future that the JIXIAN predicts, the more energy it will have to expend to do so. JIXIAN said, delighted, and if it doesn't predict the future, then that's basically like putting it on standby, and it can be used for a long time. The strength of the signal will also affect it, Zhou Wanyuan said. It also will depend on the specific surroundings they're in, and the type of devil, just like how Xiaomi and Huawei phones aren't the same once they're on standby for a long time. A Nokia is pretty good, JIXIAN said. Zhou Wanyuan responded, Apple is the king of sucking away power. JIXIAN said, the 6 Plus won't anymore. Now it can run for a long time on a full charge. Zhou Wanyuan asked, surprised, is that right? I was thinking about signing a contract, will it look too big? With that, JIXIAN and Zhou Wanyuan began to discuss the different standby times of different kinds of phones. Zhou Wanyuan recommended that JIXIAN use Redmi, and the topic of conversation was instantly changed to something 18,000 li away. Xiang Chen was still thinking, so the meeting turned into 2 people discussing cell phones, while one person was thinking about how to solve this case. Messy black lines appeared over Xiang Chen's head, and before long, he said to JIXIAN, Xiaodu, let me take a look at your notebook. It was only with that JIXIAN remembered the matter at hand, and he asked Zhou Wanyuan, where did we get to just now? Charging. The corners of Zhou Wanyuan's mouth twitched. JIXIAN, that's right. If the JIXIAN and JIXIAN are also subject to this law, how would they charge their power? Zhou Wanyuan replied, that would be in accordance to the power they possess. JIXIAN had recorded what had happened when Zhou Wanyuan was catching that Yao earlier, and he said, then its power to predict the future can grow stronger through eating people. JIXIAN, can it? Wait, Xiang Chen said. I've got it, let's go. Wait, come back and explain it first. Zhou Wanyuan said, her metaphorical fur standing on end. Even Conan needs to analyze the situation in a case. Xiang Chen grabbed his bag, and the 3 of them went out the door. He asked Zhou Wanyuan, where's your car? I don't have one. Zhou Wanyuan replied unhappily. I don't even have the money to make a down payment, how could I buy a car? Xiang Chen glanced at Zhou Wanyuan's appearance. Zhou Wanyuan. The 3 of them squeezed in the subway for a while, before Xiang Chen asked, How do you get into Lingjing Alley? There was a Shaz who street snacks at that entrance just now, Zhou Wanyuan replied emotionlessly. Now there's too many entrances and exits, and you can even get in from the Jingkelong warehouse. Xiang Cheng. They got off, and Lingjing Alley was filled with rays of sunlight. When they got there, JIXIAN immediately had a feeling that they had found the association. Everyone was an exorcist, and even the door guards could fight monsters. The supernatural, spine-chilling atmosphere of the world outside was stopped solidly just like that. Chen Zhen's work was keeping him busy, and every time JIXIAN saw him, he always felt as if Chen Zhen was a little sleepy, but even so, he managed to find time for them. He listened to their report in the conference room, and even Kita had come. He opened an Apple laptop, wiping his hands back and forth across it. Aside from Chen Zhen and Kita, there was also a tall, skinny, middle-aged man sitting in the conference room. He was wearing glasses, and from the beginning to the end, he remained silent. This individual is Yan Fei, the director of the enforcement division. Zhou Wanyuan nodded in his direction. I was just thinking about finding you all, Yan Fei said, smiling slightly. There's no need to investigate this case anymore, go archive it. What? The three of them were all very shocked. What is the meaning of this? Zhou Wanyuan asked. I spent 3 months of time, but now I'm supposed to stop investigating just because you're telling me to stop doing so. Chen Zhen immediately shot a glance at Zhou Wanyuan, warning her not to say more, but Yan Fei began to chuckle, and he shook his head. This is the wish of the department heads, Yan Fei said, smiling. I also don't have a choice. For what reason? JIXIAN asked. Chen Zhen glanced at JIXIAN, before saying, they didn't say. You guys should spend some more time studying instead. It's almost time for the test. But Xiang Cheng replied, that won't work. Chen Zhen said, Xiang Cheng, I looked up your electronic record. Not once have you observed the appropriate procedures. This isn't Guangdong or Chongqing, can you be a little more law-abiding in Beijing? Yan Fei raised his hand, saying, stop arguing, stop arguing. Director Chen, how about you? Xiang Cheng sucked in a breath, and Kita immediately stepped in, saying, why don't you report on the process and prepare a record? Are human lives more important, or is discipline more important? Xiang Cheng asked in disbelief. Of course it's discipline, Chen Zhen said. How can one life compare with the safety of all of society? Is one life not the safety of society? Xiang Cheng asked. Chen Zhen, these are the considerations of the superiors who issue us commands, would they have thought it over less thoroughly than you? They're all a bunch of trash. Xiang Cheng raged. When have they ever managed to accomplish anything? Chen Zhen's expression changed, but Yan Fei merely laughed loudly as he gathered up his materials and said, you all keep chatting, I'll be going first. Xiaoke, in a while, bring me the case file. Remember, us exorcists must be careful and thorough in our treatment of mortal matters. Our plans must be watertight, and our schemes must be detailed. Kita immediately said. Okay. Yan Fei shut the door and left. It isn't an issue if you say those words in front of me, Chen Zhen said coldly to Xiang Cheng. But if you say them outside, no one will be able to help you then. I already helped you take care of the matter last time, and your identity along with the sword of wisdom were very sensitive to begin with, because the higher-ups still remember the Mount Wu incident from back in the day. Have you done the math yourself? How many people died? That day, when you left, the department head asked me if you had come to get revenge, or if you had come to settle old debts. What will the others think? Can't you take care of things a little more smoothly? That artifact belonged to my family to begin with. Settle what old accounts? Xiang Cheng immediately raged. If it wasn't for them having guilty consciences, who would even spare a thought for my parents? Didn't they say that they all had a clear conscience? Come. Let them all come here. Go now, they're just next door in a meeting, Chen Zhen said, pointing outside. If you don't go, you're a bitch. Stop fighting. Zhou Wanyuan said angrily. Xiang Cheng rose, knocking his chair over, and he turned and left. JIXIAN and Kita immediately rose to chase after him. Xiang Cheng didn't go to the conference room next door. What replaced that instead was the bang of the door to the emergency exit. Kita and JIXIAN stood outside the door, looking at each other. JIXIAN pushed the door open, while Kita turned and went back into the meeting room. In the darkness, Xiang Cheng was smoking. Are you all right? JIXIAN asked carefully. Xiang Cheng didn't respond. JIXIAN went over, only for Xiang Cheng to suddenly pull him into his embrace and lower his head, hugging him tightly. JIXIAN. JIXIAN's heart beat wildly. He didn't know what had happened, but he reached out in return and hugged Xiang Cheng around the neck, saying into his ear, "Don't be angry. How about we leave ba?" Xiang Cheng took a few deep breaths and calmed down, before he let go of JIXIAN. You go back and sit, Xiang Cheng said in reply. I'll go find you in a while. JIXIAN stroked the back of Xiang Cheng's head, and went back into the meeting room. Chen Zhen, Kita, and Zhou Wanyuan were all sitting there, and the atmosphere was very awkward. The way I see it, we should all stop performing exorcisms as well, Zhou Wanyuan said. It'll be less trouble for everyone, let's just disband and go home to tend the fields. A laugh burst out of Kita. Chen Zhen took a sip of tea and said, before we disband, we still need to take care of the important matter of your marriage. Zhou Wanyuan's face darkened, and Kita immediately lost his smile. Director Chen, Kita said earnestly. It's no longer the time period to speak of arranged marriages, this. Kita had his hands clasped together as he twiddled his thumbs. Zhou Wanyuan shot him a vengeful glare, and Kita continued, as a person, I greatly respect and admire Miss Zhou. It's not that I'm not willing, it's that it really can't be done, and as for the department's good intentions, I'll take them to heart. Finally, Zhou Wanyuan could no longer bear it and she said to Chen Zhen, does the exorcism committee want to change fields and become a matchmaking business, or what? Leaving so many homicide cases unattended, only to try to pair us together every day, don't you find that awkward? It's not awkward, Chen Zhen said. It's not like they're trying to matchmake me, so what's there to feel awkward about? JIXIAN. JIXIAN slumped on the table, almost going insane with laughter. Kita glanced at JIXIAN, before he said to Chen Zhen, I really can't do it. Why can't you do it? Chen Zhen asked. Is it very hard to develop feelings towards each other? I have no feelings towards women, Kita said, completely seriously. I'm a bear gong. JIXIAN. Have you gone on the 1069 sites yet? Kita asked. Director Chen, come, let me introduce to you what we call each other in the comrade circle. A1 is the one on top, while A0 is Zhou Wanyuan. Go explain it to the higher-ups, Chen Zhen said, pointing to the conference room next door. Chief Wang is currently having a meeting next door. Make a PowerPoint while you're at it, and you might as well explain all kinds of positions as well. I promise that no one will come to bother you all again. Kita. Xiang Cheng came in and sat down on the chair, and everyone stopped talking again. Report on the situation, Chen Zhen said. I'm very busy in the afternoon. Be a little more concise. Let's begin ba, who'll go first? Everyone was looking at JIXIAN, so he could only grit his teeth and open his notebook. After glancing at Xiang Cheng, he said, the enemy is the JIXIAN. Chicken? Chen Zhen asked, confused. What species of chicken could be so hardy? The Ji in Fuji, JIXIAN explained carefully. It can predict the future to a certain extent. That day, what we saw at the entrance of the Keishikao was the JIXIAN. What caused the 4 students to commit suicide was the JIXIAN. Our guess is that the JIXIAN takes the lives of humans to strengthen its own cultivation. Xiang Cheng continued, ghost force that can pierce through the universe. By absorbing souls, they obtain the power to pass through time. Chen Zhen was silent while Kita asked, confused, what does it mean to pass through the universe? Zhou Wanyuan replied impatiently, the universe, or time. By default, when humans become ghosts, they can see the future. Great Immortal Xiang is very smart, so I imagine you've also understood it? N. Chen Zhen nodded. O-Keaton nodded. Everyone understood, only JIXIAN hadn't. In his heart, he flipped the table while roaring, can't you all take in consideration the needs of bystanders? This kind of tacit understanding, are you discriminating against me for being an outsider to this field? Why? JIXIAN asked, confused. The power of ghosts passes through time, Kita said. The souls of immortals pierce through space, while the power of ghosts passes through time. Xiang Cheng explained, ghost souls can see the future. Why? JIXIAN asked. Zhou Wanyuan replied, haven't your relatives sent you dreams before? Often, right before you're about to experience danger, your loved ones who have passed will send you dreams, telling you to dodge a trial a few days later. Of course, whether you're able to avoid it or not depends on your luck. Xiang Cheng nodded. So, for ghost souls to see the future, this is a natural outcome. But why can ghost souls see the future? JIXIAN asked in response. How are we supposed to know that? Zhou Wanyuan asked. Why don't you go ask the stars in the sky why they twinkle? The reason the stars twinkle, JIXIAN said, is because of the expansion and contraction of the atmosphere due to temperature. Cold air is more dense, while hot air is less dense, and when they begin to circulate they cause the light of the stars to reflect multiple times. Enough, Zhou Wanyuan wailed. It's just a metaphor. Can you stop getting hung up over this question? Souls can see the future, Chen Zhen said, capping his thermos, because of their nature. They exist in a 5D world, so they can see what happens in a 4D world. This research topic is very complicated, and the Seoul Research Division hasn't yet come up with an accurate report. Let's talk about this later, we'll leave it at that for now. Kita called out to Chen Zhen. Chen Zhen said, create a copy of the report and close the case. We'll call it here, don't bring me any more trouble during the exam period. Chen Zhen left, and the 4 of them looked at each other, before Xiang Cheng rose and left with JIXIAN. It was evening, and JIXIAN and Xiang Cheng sat in the plaza outside the exorcism office. The fountain splashed with glittering golden light, and many pigeons were living in the plaza, so JIXIAN and Xiang Cheng bought 2 ears of corn, prying off the kernels to feed the pigeons. Since they had come out, Xiang Cheng hadn't spoken. JIXIAN didn't ask too much either, all he had to do at this time was keep his silence. The exorcism committee actually kept pigeons. JIXIAN kept musing over what kind of godly pigeons these were as he watched Xiang Cheng. Sigui was mixed amongst the pigeons, pecking at the kernels to eat, but when JIXIAN waved his hand at it, Sigui flew over. JIXIAN had remembered what Chen Zhen had said, Mount Wu, Xiang Cheng's parents, many people had died. Were those the old scores from the last generation? He didn't dare ask, merely sitting there with Xiang Cheng, keeping him company in staring off into space. When he remembered Kita and Zhou Wanyuan's reactions, he couldn't resist laughing again. What are you laughing for? Xiang Cheng glanced at JIXIAN. JIXIAN replied, it's funny watching Zhou Wanyuan being forced to marry someone day in and day out, ha ha ha. Xiang Cheng also suddenly began to laugh, and JIXIAN added, why is Wan Yuan being forcefully pushed towards Kita? Neither of them like each other. Xiang Cheng didn't know either, and he shook his head and sighed. JIXIAN put one hand on his shoulder, saying, don't be so down. Once you pass your exam, let's go together and find a new place to catch Yao in. Xiang Cheng nodded and replied, oh well, it's nothing much. As expected, big cities are hard to survive in. But just as JIXIAN was about to leave, Xiang Cheng added, come with me to take a look at the underground level. JIXIAN remembered that there was a shopping street here, so the two of them went down the stairs on the first floor to the lower first floor. The lower first floor was like the Xidan underground market, bustling with people, and everywhere there were shops selling little goods. There was a dazzling array of goods, most of which were ancient tomes or small articles of decoration. JIXIAN was tongue-tied, and he asked, are these all used for exorcism? Not entirely, Xiang Cheng said. Make sure you don't buy fake goods. Xiang Cheng's mood had improved somewhat and the two of them browsed through several stores on the way. There were one selling mirrors, one selling talisman pouches, and even a specialty store selling blank talismans. It felt as if they had walked into a funerary goods store, because white and yellow parchment hung everywhere. How are these sold? Xiang Cheng asked. The yellow ones are 80, the owner said. The red talismans are 160, the blue talismans are 300, and the black talismans are 500. Xiang Cheng counted out 2 blue ones and a black one, handed the boss 1.1k, and left short 1 stack of cash. What use do the white ones have? JIXIAN asked curiously. The white ones are paired with the other colors, Xiang Cheng explained to JIXIAN. The boss looked at JIXIAN strangely, before counting out 3 white ones to Xiang Cheng. Did I? It's all right, Xiang Cheng said. You can ask anything. JIXIAN was relieved, and he nodded. They passed by a store that sold wind chimes, and the wind chimes hung in the store like a screen. All of a suddenly, they all began to chime gently, like the sound of rain falling. So pretty. JIXIAN thought, but just as he was about to go in and look, he noticed the owners of the several neighboring stores sticking their heads out curiously, watching Xiang Cheng. We'll go to another one, Xiang Cheng said stiffly. JIXIAN. Xiang Cheng led JIXIAN away, but all the owners around the wind chime store were watching him. JIXIAN had sensed it, there was a kind of bias and prejudice in the depths of their gazes. Why would things be like this? The owners didn't even know them. Was it because it was inappropriate to bring him, an outsider, in? End chapter.